Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 28 of Sold with Updike Pugh.
I'm Jeff Updike.
And I'm Weston Pugh, and we are excited today to bring you 4 great homes. We are actually going to be in Oak Cliff twice. We're going to do a condo down in deep East Dallas, kind of by Greenville. And then we're going to go to one that we haven't been into an area, but we've been sister properties multiple times, over there behind Lovers. So sit back, let us know your thoughts. And we're going to get started. What's our first one, Jeff?
So the first house that we want to talk about today is at 5711 Lindale. And 5711 Lindale is the one that is right off of Lower Greenville, Low West Greenville. And it is such a walkable neighborhood. If you have been to that Lower Greenville Avenue neighborhood in the last, 5 to 8 years, it has changed dramatically.
Yes.
Great restaurants coming in. There are some live music venues down there. It's just,
So this is one of those key areas, and again, you've heard us say it before, and we're going to keep saying it, but this is epicenter adjacent. So this is one of those neighborhoods that's going to sit tucked in, but you can shoot in and out to downtown if you wanted to, going in and out of Ross Avenue. But then you're close enough that you can go up Greenville and cut across on Fitzhugh and Henderson and be all the way almost into West Village.
Yeah.
So it allows you all of that as far as the nightlife. But then if you look in that map, you can see over there a little bit of blue starting, and that's actually where we're starting with White Rock Lake. So as close to Lakewood as you can be without being in Lakewood, and then close to Uptown and Lower Greenville. So great property, great location, and the developers are coming in. So this is a 2-bedroom. It's a 2.5 bath. It's 2,086 square feet, and it is built in 2018.
really modern design on the outside, good cross use of textures there. Really just a pretty property to drive up to.
Yeah.
They were just finishing up the first 4 units, and there's going to be another 4 units next door to this for 8 units overall. And one of the things I think stood out to me when we walked through this was that they've really done a great job with the floor plans on these.
Yes, because floor plans, when you get into an urban environment, can quickly go bad. And this is one of those ones where even when we went into the garage, we noticed that they had 2 transom windows at the very top that allow natural light to come in, so it's not like it's an energy efficiency thing. Here we have what we were looking at as the living room, and they've done a great job with offsetting windows to add architectural interest, but at the same time, you can get where you have too much space of windows that A, don't allow for privacy in this urban development, and B, they don't actually allow you enough places for art and furniture. So they've done a really good job. The design selects that they've used throughout are really quality. The good floors that they've put in are wide planks that I think is what is a symbol that people are really looking for these days. Color balances are really well done. Not painted cabinets in the kitchens and in the bathrooms, but an actual wood finished look. Really strong. And I believe that the appliances are KitchenAid. So there's a built-in microwave that vents out, a gas range with 6 burners, and the one that we saw, it had a fridge.
And they have used, again, changed the floor plans up. Many times developers kind of go after that cookie cutter look because it's easy to do, and it's easy for one builder to one construction company to do next. And they did not do that with this one. It really is original.
So we've got really good high ceilings as well on all 3 floors, which is great. There are multiple closets that we found in multiple floors, which is really excellent, and when you're living in a vertical area. Master bedroom in here was good, large sized, and the master bathroom also had a good flow to it. Sometimes they get a little silly, trying to be kind of too much. This one had floating shelves that made sense, good walk-in shower with a bench. Nothing too too out of control, very sensible. What we love, oh, go ahead. You're about to say something else.
I was just going to say, and one of the design mistakes that we see a lot of developers make in almost every price range is not having a door on the water closet. And I mean, this was
it is a complaint. If you hear us talk, it is put a door on the water closet.
Yeah, absolutely. But one of the other really cool features of this that I thought was the size of the laundry room.
Yes. Oh, that's right. So this one had an oversized laundry room that actually had additional upper and lower shelves, and it had the solid
Folding
surface
area. Yep.
for folding.
Right
So
there.
this is a smart way for developers to do it. It also had both gas and electric hookup on this one. One of the great things about this, and developers will learn this, is that people in these urban settings are going to want to have outdoor living space, and they want it to have 110 outlets, and they want it to be where they can use it, and it to have set up so it could have some additional pergola or structure built. And this is a really good scenario for that.
Yeah. This one's got a really beautiful view right now of downtown, and the rooftop deck is protected from the other residents in that complex by the structures come up with the staircases, but iron railing, just a really spectacular outdoor space. I could see living out there a lot of the time.
I would say, and the other thing too that I was shocked is how large the outdoor space was. It wasn't quite the size of a two-car garage, but
really
it got
close.
really close.
Yeah.
Material that they use on the flooring is an indoor-outdoor carpet that I thought was an interesting choice. I like the fact that it's not going to have the slickness, nor will it have the heat that you would get from certain solid materials that you could use up there. So this price is going to come in at $525, which is $251.68 a square foot. It is one heck of a deal. There are 8 of them right now that just came out of the ground.
4 out of the ground, 4 more
Sure.
shortly.
Thank you for that correction. So, and we want to say thank you, Andy Steingosser, for allowing us to highlight your listing.
The next one that we wanted to talk about was this real gem that we have found down in Oak Cliff. It's at 2422 Sunset Avenue, and was one of the little cottage homes that was built in the 1940s. In this location is again a super walkable neighborhood. It doesn't have quite the infrastructure, with restaurants and all of that directly around it, but still a quick bike ride over to Bishop Arts District. If you enjoy golf, the Stevens Park Golf Course. I'm not a golfer, but my golfer friends say that is one of the finest municipal golf courses in the country, and it is within half a mile of there.
So this is a great commuter as well. This location would allow you to get on 230 and be into Arlington, or if you had to get over to Fort Worth, God forbid, you could do that very easily from here. And the other thing too is you can get across the bridges on Hampton and be over on your side of town, be at the airport in no time.
Yeah.
So it is a really great space. It's one of the things that you didn't know that it was there. And when we pulled up, the interesting thing about this house was that I have shown this house 1 or 2 times ago when it was on the market. So it's a 2-bedroom, 1 bath. It's 1182 square feet, and I would say impeccably done. If you are familiar with apartment.com, this is a home that would be featured in that. It's so well done, front to back.
It really is. And this was, when you walk in the front door, you have these really beautiful original hardwood floors. The floor plan kind of flows from the living room into the dining room and into the little, very well designed, and I'm going to use the word cozy kitchen.
That's a good word.
It's not, cozy sometimes makes you think, oh, well, it's crammed and packed, and this one's not. It is laid out beautifully. The other thing I was going to say was, so this to me is like the epitome of the Austin funk that used to be there.
That's a good way to put it.
It is, it's kind of hipster, kind of not, finished out well.
Yep.
Polished on all the edges. Mini split air conditioning heating system, which really makes sense in a lot of this age of homes.
So this was also one of the floor plans that, if you go back to the opening picture, Ziggy, there's a picture of the guy that they have done a really interesting thing. So on either side of that picture, they've actually done shelves, and they painted the backsplash of those. But where the pictures of the gentleman playing the guitar, that is actually a doorway. But they've actually darkened the doorway right there and hung this on top of it. So it makes sense, and it gives them a place to actually locate the couch so that the room begins to make sense. Throughout the rest of the house, we saw things where they had used islands that were on casters that allowed the kitchen to have a different configuration depending on what you wanted to do. They had used a really great interpretation of a small screen to separate washer and dryer from the kitchen in one area. Second bedroom in this one was also used as an office/day bed. So I thought that the homeowner had done a great job of taking advantage of what they did or they didn't need and created an amazing flex space that really speaks to what people do with homes. They're not just dedicated to an office or to a bedroom.
Yeah.
Jeff, you pointed out how large the backyard was and how great this one was as far as if you wanted to put a detached garage on this one.
Yeah, there's already a foundation where a garage was out there previously that would be very easy to build another structure on. You know, pouring a foundation on a garage is a great bit of your cost in building a garage.
Right.
So you've already got that in place.
So this is one of the houses that for us just seemed to have a lot of extra value. The backyard is a really amazing size. Fence is well done. Stain boards are horizontal, which is a little more trendy than the actual just regular upright. So overall, we were really excited to get to go feature this home. We think that it has a lot of bang for the buck, nor do we think that it will be on the market very long.
Yeah.
So excellent home.
And this is priced at $295,000, which, you know, that price point is so sought after right now. Brings it in about $250 a square foot. For what you're getting in the location you are is a great value. And we want to say thank you to Adriana Higgins for letting us talk about her property today.
Thank you, Adrian. So we're going to stay in Oak Cliff right now. We're just going to scooch a little more west right now, and we're going to go to 820 West 8th Street. This is another area that gets a little bit closer to Bishop Art District. And so we've seen a lot of the developers move into this area. This gets you, again, closer to the trolley that gets over there by the Methodist Hospital and that can then cart you into downtown and then up to West Village. The other thing, too, is that you'll see here you have the Sylvan, you have Hampton, really easy to get you to the other side into North Dallas if you need to be, and airports. One of the great things, too, is that if you just head almost due west on Davis, you're going to tee into 35 and be able to run up 75 or into Denton, either direction. So this is a great area as far as commutability. Getting in and out of this neighborhood is not difficult by any means. And Bishop Art District, we'll say it again, Google Bishop Art District. The amount of things that continue to come into this area are just changing daily. So it's worth it. Great place on Friday night. Go walk around, have dinner. Hattie's is a great place to start. And the bar around the corner is an excellent place to end. So take a look at that place for us.
So the house itself is this has a perma-stone exterior on it. It is a 3-bedroom, 2.5-bath home that's about 1,650 square feet, built in the 1930s. Has a great front porch on the property. Front porch is big enough not only for the porch swings, but for the 2 big rockers.
Yep.
And they take full advantage of that porch. It really is a great outdoor space. The home is actually a 2-story home, which it doesn't look like it from the street. I was a little thrown off when we got to the staircase because I thought it was just going to keep going on back. But it's got these really high ceilings in it.
Extremely high.
I think they're probably 11 or 12 feet ceilings. The rooms flow together just seamlessly, and while these are not true beambox ceilings in these 2 rooms, it does give that effect and does give that feeling of having the old style really retained in it.
And the interesting thing about this one is that a lot of times when we see these Americana bungalow homes, they haven't redone the windows. And I was pleasantly surprised to see that not only had they redone the windows, but they had also done them more with a prairie style Frank Lloyd Wright mullion in them. So really well done. That picture that he just had up, that is actually of the living room office that is directly to the left of the front door when you walk in. The home has been set up and renovated so that it flows from family room to the dining room and into the kitchen that's been renovated as well. You can see that they've done a really good job of increasing probably the size of the windows in order to allow for a more natural light. They've gone with the 42-inch cabinets, even maybe a little bit larger on some of them, and taken them all the way to the ceiling, which really expands the usability and storage of this one. Bathroom or master bedroom was downstairs. So we didn't spend enough time to dig around and find out if they had reconfigured all of that, but I thought that it was a really great use of the downstairs because how many times do people want master down?
Right. And this one's got a really nice master bath on it, big double door entry opening into the master bath, shower stall rather than the tub, which makes so much more sense now. The solid surfaces that were used in it were done really well, finished very nicely.
Yep. And then so what we see is that it goes upstairs to where they've enclosed, I'm assuming, the attic. And inside of the attic, they've added their own HVAC up there. So we saw the controls for that. And so then it has 2 additional bedrooms. Now, one of the rooms they're using more as an office. And then the other one right here is a true bedroom, and it's almost like an ensuite because the bathroom is inside of the bedroom, which is a really great feature. In order to give this room more natural light, they've added a skylight in each one of them. So even though they don't have the traditional vertical windows, we do get really good natural light from the skylights.
Yeah, many times when you go into an attic conversion, you feel that, the roof's kind of coming in on you, and you don't with this one, just with the way the lighting's used and then the skylights.
Yep. So if you come back downstairs, we go into the backyard, and the backyard on this one is large as well. These lots are running just a little bit larger, and this one has a detached 2-car garage. This is, again, a great feature for a home that so many people are familiar and want these. So if you are looking for a house that is a California bungalow in a neighborhood that is in that gentrification process, this is definitely one of the ones that you would want to stop and take a look at.
And this one was priced at $419,000. That brings it in about $254 a square foot. And we want to say thank you to Ralph Ballman for letting us talk about his home.
Yep, great home. So thank you so much. So now if we kind of get in the car and let's go across Hampton from there.
Take Hampton. Hampton turns into Inwood.
There you go.
And then, this comes right up Inwood Road. And just as you get to Inwood Village, take a little right there by the school, and there is Greenway Boulevard, Inwood Crossroads, excuse me.
And there is 7640 West Greenway. So
Yeah.
This is a really great area. You live just around the corner from this, so why don't you tell us all about this neighborhood?
Well, the location, you cannot beat this location. I've lived there a very, very long time, and I think if there's one thing about it that is kind of at the top of my list, it is the location. You've got restaurants within walking distance. You have grocery stores within walking distance. You have gas stations. You have city parks. You have greenway parks to walk through. It is just a great accessibility neighborhood. If you're going to Love Field or if you're going to DFW Airport, I can be from my home into DFW Airport in less than 20 minutes.
Yep. And this whole area has really, after 2010, this shopping center over there, it's called Inwood Village, really came back and turned it around. And I would say that's one of my favorite movie theaters to go to. They've got a great bar downstairs. If you're looking for pizza across the street, they've got Campese's. And they've also got really good sushi at Sushi House. And the Mexican food that I love is Rafa's.
Yep.
So this is a really great walkable neighborhood without being in Uptown. And it is one of the few pockets in Dallas that allow you to get to everything. So this is a condo. It is a 1-bedroom, 1.5 bath. It comes in at 922 square feet and is built in 1982. This complex is a very open complex. You've got great parking in these complexes. So they have nice parking for both the unit under the buildings, and they have additional parking inside of the complex for guests. It is cladded in stucco and brick. They usually have porches on this one. This one has a small porch off of the living room. What this current owner has done is we have solid surfaces throughout the entire unit. So great for allergies. It is a split level condo. So on the first floor, we've got the living room with the fireplace, and then you come around and you've got a full kitchen, full washer and dryer connection. It is on the corner end, which is really great. And then upstairs, you have more of a loft configuration for the bedroom. So no walls, but it allows you kind of to see more openly and gives you more space because they're not using the walls. And then a really great renovated bathroom. Here's a shot of the kitchen. Again, we've come back with white cabinets that I'm not sure the cabinets were just repainted, but I do know that the inside of the unit was just repainted. Solid surface countertops, and you've got white appliances to kind of keep everything in the same family. So great place.
Yeah, gated community, lots of really great neighbors.
Are you
Personal
included in that? So this is a great one. Good, strong HOA. I believe, looking at the docs, that this one is FHA approved.
I want to say yes. The many of these, the Crossroads the Crossroads communities were FHA approved. It may still be.
Apparently, it's showing that it is.
Okay,
So
good.
that would be a great thing if you're looking to try to get in. This would be a good complex for that.
Yeah, and that is something that it has become harder and harder to find because many of the complexes just decided they didn't really need to maintain that, and I think foolishly. And as when financing tightens up in general, it usually tightens with condos first. And that is, one of the things about that helps owners in this type of complex retain value in their units is to maintain that FHA insurability for loans.
It is definitely an unthought of market value added.
Absolutely.
So this one is priced at $189,900. That brings us in at $205,970. And we want to say thank you to ours truly, David Lee, for letting us highlight your home.
Yep. Thank you, David.
Well, thank you all so much. We appreciate all the feedback. Just kind of give you guys an update. We have our record is right at 3,500 views on our show, so we're really excited about that. Please continue to watch, give us your feedback. I think that our number 1 and number 2 fans, your mom and my mom, are tied for that.
Yeah.
So thanks, Mom, for participating. We appreciate that. So we're going to move into the second segment now.
Okay.
And I think with the spring market here, this is one of those things that you and I get asked all the time.
Yep.
And I figured this is going to be one of those times when let's get ahead of it and let's get things working on.
Yep.
So tell us what we're going to talk about.
Well, today we have Jeremy Radcliffe with SWBC Mortgage that is joining us, and we are going to talk about one of the real challenges that is in our marketplace right now, and it is that process of how do you do the single move when you buy and sell a home. And so I'd like to say welcome to Jeremy.
Thanks,
Good to have
Jeff.
you with
Thanks.
us.
Great to be on
Jeremy
the
and
show
I have
again.
been friends for many, many years. He does a great job. He's got a great family, and he's just been a great guy to have a business partnership with.
Thank you so much. It's great. Always great to get to be on y'all's show.
So let's talk about kind of the process that we see out there. That traditional
Right.
buy-sell process is tough on people, and it many times, what they're going to do is they're going to go out and they're going to locate the home, and then they're going to negotiate the purchase contract. Hopefully that they'll get a contract together, and then they put theirs on the market, and they're kind of pressured to sell quickly. And at the end of that, what they try to do is use the proceeds from that current purchase for the new one, and then you do the simultaneous close, which is how do you feel about that simultaneous close?
Well, it's not a great week to ask me that question, actually, because I just had wonderful client who is in that exact scenario, and she's selling her place and trying to buy a new place, and it was contingent on the sale of her home. And we get to closing, and the financing on the sale of her property had fallen through last minute. And so here she is trying to save this transaction on this home that she loves. So I realize that's, people need to sell homes to be able to use that, but there are other ways to make that work. And so I'm excited to explore that.
Yeah, we see some financial disadvantages to doing that too, because many times there's just less property for you to be able to find, because many sellers just will not take that
They don't
contingency.
entertain the contingency.
Yeah, and especially going into the more active spring market. I think you also lose some of your negotiating power, because I think I explain it to people like this: like when you're a normal buyer that you still have to get your financing done, you're only a 50% buyer. And so, if you've got this other contingency hanging out there that you got to sell your house, you're really like a 10 to 15% buyer. So, it's hard for sellers to take you more serious. And it just leads to a lot of increased stress.
Right. And, it's interesting too. I was talking to someone else who's in that scenario where they're trying to sell their home. They've got multiple kids, multiple pets. And so just that process, and the guy said to me, he said, there's no way, he's like, my wife will not let me list our home until we've got to figure out a way to get this sold. So I'm excited to explore it, and there's some ways to do it.
Cool. So the alternative that we wanted to talk about today was the kind of the alternative single move process. And I think, if there's one thing people need to take away from this, and that is what?
You gotta talk with a lender. So you've got to really get things in place early on because, and we do this on a regular basis, sometimes multiple times throughout the week. But you've got to talk with someone early on and just verify, hey, can I buy a home and still retain my current home and not use the equity from that? And so there's ways to do that, and that's probably the number one recommendation I'd say. And that's not a hey, wait till you're out looking this weekend. That's like, hey, start looking 6 to 8 weeks before, if not earlier on that process.
It's one of the conversations we try to have with people to encourage them to do that when we get that initial phone call,
Right.
because, you just, we have had the experience where we've taken people out and put them in the car and we have found the dream home, and they end up not getting that one because of, the complications that they have.
Correct.
So, under this alternative, hopefully they come to you, they get pre-qualified, pre-approved, get far enough down the road that they can locate, write a contract on the new home, go through that process, get to closing and move, and then put their other home on the market. And it is such the people that we've done this with have had
Changes the game a little bit.
Oh,
Talk about a piece of a standard of peace in your life after you do something like that. And so, do you want to go through those options?
Yeah,
and
let's
just
talk about the
yeah.
options,
So the way to do this, and the thing that I would just clarify on this is you have to make sure, and I mentioned this, you've got to make sure that you can qualify with your existing home and the new property that you're buying. So that's really the first step. So that's why talking with myself, perhaps another lender that you're working with, make sure that you have had that conversation and just verify, can I actually qualify with both properties? And then from there, the easiest way to do this is assuming that you've got assets available to you that are not tied up in the equity. So the way that would work is, let's say, hey, I want to buy a new property, but I have assets that are not including the home equity that I would have after I sell my home. You qualify with both properties. You use those assets, whether they could be mutual funds or equities or perhaps even a gift from family. You use that for the purchase.
401k money.
401ks, absolutely, IRAs. You use those funds, and then you purchase, you close, and then you could do whatever time it takes after the close on the new home. You can sell your other property.
Okay.
And it's at that point potentially vacant too, so it might make it a little bit easier.
And this
in
sounds
staging that. So.
And this sounds kind of like this would be the easiest way to do it.
Absolutely the easiest way. And when we're looking at people, that's the path of least resistance. We're always asking that question, hey, what's available to us?
Okay.
And are those assets available? So the second option would be definitely still a good option. It's the way this works is you're still using assets that are not coming from the equity in the home. But maybe it's not as much, it's not the down payment you would have hoped for had you sold your home. So let's say you've got 5% or 10% cash in some form. Again, that could be in the form of a gift, could be in the form of, we talked about 401ks, different equities. You use those funds, you purchase the new property. Now at this point, if your loan to value, which is just the inverse of your down payment, so if you're doing 5% or 10% down, you're now over 80% LTV. And so you're going to have that PMI, which everyone's like, hey, I didn't want to have PMI.
Yeah.
And so the way it works is you could still close, you would have PMI. And what's unique about, so SWBC, we service our files, so we service our loans. What I love about that is, let's say you were to go to close your home in 90 days or 180 days. You could take, let's say you walked away with $50,000 to $100,000. You could take a large portion of that or that full amount and do what we call a principal reduction. So the way that works, it costs $100. I think that's more just for processing the change. And then you put that principal reduction on the loan, and then we just re-amortize the payment for the remaining number of months that are left on the term of the loan. So what that does is that would reduce now your payment. So your monthly payment gets reduced. Caveat on that is it has to be $10,000 or more. So, and then it's a $100 one-time charge, but then you basically reduce that payment. The other thing too is on the PMI, the way the disclosures are written, it says at 80% loan to value, you can request in writing for that PMI to drop off. Some servicers will require 12 to 24 months in payments, so that's something you'd want to just kind of verify beforehand. But it's definitely a way to do it, and I think it's a great way, especially if you found the perfect house, to get in with the minimal down payment out front.
Okay. Tell us about option number 3.
Yeah, so option number 3 is a little bit more tricky. It's definitely still an option, but that's where you're now using maybe some minimum assets from your own funds, just like we talked about in option 1 and 2. But now you're looking at doing what we call a first and a second lien purchase. So sometimes we refer to as the 80-10-10.
Yep.
So you're using that. You've got 80% on the first lien, and then you're borrowing maybe another 10% with a second lien company, and then you're doing down payment of 10 or 5% of your own funds. What I like about that is you don't have to worry about the PMI after close. Again, you still do have to qualify for your current home, the first lien, and the second lien. So all of those kind of come into the calculations. But once you go to sell, once you sell your home, you could go and pay off that second lien and get rid of that. There is a little bit of a hit on interest rates on first lien when you carry a second lien, so something to talk through, and we can show you those scenarios. But it's a great way to get into a property.
Okay.
So, yeah.
And last of all?
So the last one is one that I would say it's not for the faint at heart. You've got to start early on this. And this is probably what I would say most people are referring to. When I hear the term bridge loan, I hear this thrown out a lot. I would say this is what I think they're talking about, and that's where you're using equity in your existing home for the down payment. So the way that this works, there's a couple of different ways, is you can do what's called a cash out refinance. So let's say you've got quite a bit of equity in your home. The limit on this is you do have to have equity because Texas has cash out laws that say you have to retain 80% or 20% equity in your home at all time. So you can only borrow up to 80% of whatever your home value is. Total. And then sometimes that would require an appraisal. On a cash out refinance, you're going to have to get an appraisal. We would take the value of the home. You could lend up to 80% after, and then we just pay off your existing liens, and you would walk away with whatever cash is available. From there, you could use that cash now for the purpose of a down payment on a new home. Same scenario, though, you do still have to qualify with your current home after the refinance and then plus the new home. So
Okay.
That's a great option. And then another way to look at that one, too, is to do what we call a HELOC, or home equity line of credit. Depending on, sometimes these are a little bit easier. You would go to a local bank, and then essentially they would take value using tax records or something like that. And again, you could get an amount up to 80% loan to value. Any cash that you have, you could use for the purpose of a down payment. So it's
Okay.
definitely an option.
Great.
To work. So,
Well, that's, those are 4 great alternatives for, the alternative single move
yeah,
process.
it's always, these are my favorite things to do because I like trying to figure out how to make the pieces work. But you got to talk early to someone. Otherwise, because if you're waiting till the weekend to try to figure out how to do it, just be prepared. You're going to have to do some paperwork in the process. So.
Well, great. Well, that's really eye-opening, and I'm glad that y'all have those solutions, and I'm really glad that we work with somebody like you. I think we're about to bring up Jeremy's contact information there. Reach out to Jeremy on his website. Email him at jeremy.radcliffe@swbc.com. Phone number's up there as well. He'll be happy to take your phone call days, but I'm kidding. Jeremy's great to work with. He's been super responsive to our clients. So thank you, Jeremy. So I guess that's the end of another really great show.
Yeah, and I'm back. So poof, welcome to Magic TV. So I think that's a great show. There's a lot of information that you guys were able to discuss on that. If you have more questions about what we actually talked about or need a little more one-on-one, give us a call, give Jeremy a call. This is one of those important things. It can be accomplished, and he's done a great job with our clients in the past on this. So thank you all so much. This is about the conclusion of yet another wonderful show. Please tune in next week when we're going to talk about condos over there off of Henderson. And then we're also going to have our very own Robin come in, and Robin is going to highlight some of the do's and don'ts when renting a 38-foot RV and going cross country. So tune in, and we'll be happy to talk about that.
It's going to be a lot of fun next week. We want to say thank you for tuning in with us this week, though. There are lots of ways to reach out to us. Reach out to us through our Facebook page, and like that, you'll keep information coming to you about when our next shows are. Our Instagram account's got lots of information about houses that we have for sale, do's and don'ts, lots of to-do tips. And then our website's got a lot of detailed information on it. You can also go there to sign up for custom searches. If you want to find out what's going on in any part of the market, go there and sign up. And last of all, homeprice.fyi. If you have a piece of property you want to have an instant value on, just go put your address in, you'll get a value. And last of all, contact us through traditional methods with the cell phone and the text. we're happy to hear from you.
Yep. Thank you all so much. And remember, we want to be your realtors for life.